Hey Guardians, Ignite here, and today's video is going to focus on the 6 tips and tricks that I have for you for the second weekend in Trials of Osiris. I managed to get flawless 3 times, one on each of my characters, pretty effortlessly. I think that's as many as I did. I might have done more, honestly I can't remember. I know I would have had more if I didn't have the work and other prior commitments that weekend. However, with the time that I did play it and the amount of ease with which I did it, I think that I have some great tips and tricks that can help you get the flawless performance that you and your team are trying to get this coming weekend. Now, as a side note, I actually made a rookie mistake of not actually recording any of the Trials of Osiris footage that I should have, but I don't really think that I'll need the information in order to convey to you the groundbreaking tips and tricks that I have. So sit back, take out a notebook, and let's get started. The first tip, knowledge is power. The first and most important thing you want to know is what weapons, classes, and subclasses you are up against. Therefore, before each match, designate each teammate to look at one factor of each player, so that you can figure out what class, subclass, and weapon series you're up against. For example, finding out you're playing against a striker titan versus a defender should make you wary of what kind of grenades the enemy team is going to use. Or a blade dancer that stresses invisibility over speed is something to be mindful of to make sure that your team plays in a more conservative way in order to be able to recover or respond to an enemy that can disappear on the radar at any given moment. This knowledge sets the trends for the map. You can always be aware of different grenades or whether they want to stress a range-based fight if they have snipers, pulse rifles, or scout rifles. Tip 2. Be mindful of the quick pick locations. Many players are aware of crossover areas on a map that you can use to get information about the enemy team's movement quickly or even to get a quick snipe. One of the spots on the Burning Shrine, for example, was the bridge the inside team spawned next to. They could easily get on the bridge and overlook the immediate inside entrance and tell his or her team how many are inside, how many aren't, and even possibly get a quick pick. These core map areas are immensely useful to utilize, and they are also very useful for taking advantage of teams that utilize it. Coordinated teams can do delayed pushes into those areas after the expected crossover time, or even counter-snipe those areas as well. In the end, these early game choke points are quick tools that give you access to more enemy information and can quickly shift the game into your favor. Tip 3. Microcommunication. Talking with your teammates to stay coordinated is obviously important. But what separates flawless teams from flawed teams are ones that can communicate critical and sometimes seemingly insignificant information to each other. For example, not many teams talk about how to enter a bridge or narrow doorway, but communicating about who will run in first for cover and draw fire and who will pick off oncoming enemy pressure can be the difference between going down 1-3 or being up 2-1. This is what allows effective teams to be able to pinch and disorient their opposing counterparts. You need to be able to make information like that clear. My team uses simple sayings like, "I will bait and switch," indicating that I'm willing to take the enemy focus and trust that my teammates will follow through. Tip 4. The Super Safety Insurance Plan. Since you are expected to be mindful of the subclasses your enemies are running, you should always plan how to counteract them. For example, my team always tries to run one person with an aggressive super in order to counteract enemies' bubble shields or resurrections, 2 insurance supers intended to defensively change the tide of the game. My advice is always set aside one teammate with that and make it clear that that super is designated for the enemy defensive supers. No sooner, no later. Tip 5. Being down, but not out. One of what I think to be the biggest flaws in the trials is also one of the most important tools that benefits you. That is, the active surveillance role that you take upon death. When you are killed, you not only act as a planted radar, you are also designated to the person who killed you. Do not, under any circumstances, withhold from your team any information you can give them. Again, the more informed you are, the better decisions you can make to execute and come out victorious. The 6th and the final tip is the stress of the heavy ammo round. A lot of people don't put enough importance on it and don't make the best decisions that they can to help their team win it. This is literally what could be a hand-me round if you can execute it correctly. Most people run primary exotics. However, during this round, be sure to take the time at the beginning of the round to press pause, unequip your other exotic, and equip the most useful heavy weapon you have. The enemy team cannot rush you in that time, and it will make the difference in terms of how effective you actually can be for your team. I confess, I'm one of the annoying last word runners, but as soon as I hear the heavy ammo round, I equip my placeholder legendary and get out my truth because I know not taking the extra step will prevent me from taking advantage of that round. That about does it for the tips and tricks that I have for this video. I have plenty more and I plan to make other videos about it, but for now these are the general things that I see to be the most important things. That is, collaboration with teammates and communication. With that being said, I wish you and your team the best of luck on your flawless endeavors this weekend. Please feel free to leave a like if you liked the video or found it helpful, a dislike if you didn't like it or think that it could be better, and a comment if you have any other kinds of ideas or suggestions that can help people get farther in their trial endeavors. Anyways, that about does it for today's video, Guardians. I look forward to seeing you out there on the battlefield. Ignite, out.